Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult, video 160. Sometimes you just have to trust eternity. This goes hand in hand with my last video on the concept of breaking obstacles, as well as the fact that sometimes an obstacle in your way, like something that's let you down, something standing in your way, can be a positive thing. I use the example of my overdose so many years ago. Well, I would just be, at best, a workaday drone making a middle income if I had kept on my course at the time. I probably would have been lower on the totem pole than that. I might even have ended up dead because I probably would have continued to use drugs at the time because I wouldn't know any better. At some point, one of them might have killed me. Hell, maybe I would have ended up on crack or something, or meth, and completely ruined my life. So you have to keep that in mind. Sometimes an obstacle is a positive thing. Sometimes what you think you want is not actually what's good for you, and long term, you'll be happier without it. This can be difficult to comprehend. Sometimes it's a sticking point in my own life. It's certainly a sticking point in other people's lives. But at other times, you've been stymied in something that you want. There's an obstacle in your way. It could be physical, it could be mental, whatever it happens to be. Could deal with job, relationship, money, the whole 9 yards. There's something in your way. Whether it's positive or not, long term you may not actually at the time know. But then you simply have to, the Christians or Muslims and other groups of people would say, well, you have to trust God, you have to trust faith. I don't extend it to that level. But being a believer in spirituality, I do trust eternity. I have a general belief in the concept that is normally called fate. And so what happens? Without being deterministic, I don't believe in determinism. There was a time when I flirted with it, and I thought, well, everything is already predestined from the dawn of the universe. I have gone past that because I no longer believe there was specifically a dawn of existence of the universe and that it's always been there in some various form. What I would say is this, though. You have to trust that there is at least the possibility of a good outcome when things happen. If there are obstacles in your way, if you're being stopped from doing something that you want to do, having something you want to have, you've got to deal with it in the meantime. Now, you can sow the seeds, if it's another person, psychologically. If it's something physical you want, like you want money, obviously you work towards gaining that. But you have to just be ambitious and keep working at it. You can't give up. There are some of us who won't give up, and there are those that will. It's not a good idea to do so, because then you have no possibility of a good outcome without outside intercession. Trust me, that's relatively rare in life. For those who don't already realize this, it's relatively uncommon for some guardian angel sort of figure to come along and magically improve your life. It can happen. There can be times when some outside force intervenes on your behalf, and in a very secular and physical sense, another person or thing, like an organization, like, oh, I've got so many student loan debts, and then some organization comes along, you've been randomly selected, and it's like not a scam or something. Oh, we're going to pay off like your student loan debt because you have like the qualifications we're looking for in some obscure, very arcane grant that some dead multi-billionaire left behind in his will to take care of people's student debt, because you have just the right hair length, just the right eye color, and you're between the ages of X and Y, and you wear flannel shirts, so you qualify for this grant, this bailout of your student debt. Okay, you could wait for that, or you could say, oh, well, I want to be rich, I'm gonna keep playing the lottery and wait to win. Well, there's a very low chance that actually happens. Why don't you build your own fortune? Oh, well, I want this other person in my life, and they don't want any of me, or, they're already with somebody, whatever happens, happens. Then just wait. Do what you need to do, but just wait. And meanwhile, ask yourself, is that really what you want? You have to be certain. You have to have a deep feeling. It goes beyond human psychology as it can currently be described. This is why it is classed within the realm, for me, of the occult. There are feelings that you can get about situations, about people, about things that go beyond into a realm that we don't fully understand. You can call it pseudoscience, or science as yet undescribed, or you can call it the spiritual, you can call it the religious, you can say that it's Jesus Christ that's involved. It doesn't really matter much. There are certain sort of universal constants that biologically speaking are inherent to man. Now, money is not one of them, just so that everyone understands, but acquiring the necessities of life is. And we've developed the concept of money as a way to trade off for those necessities, so money would be classed in this. Romance, definitely, the will to reproduce, to have somebody to be with, things of that nature. Shelter, a house. Doesn't have to be a mansion, it has to be a roof over your head, something to keep the rain out, basically. In the modern age, we've complicated things more. The means to transportation, potentially, would be on that list. And access to healthcare, which is lacking in some parts of the world, and other parts not so much. The will to succeed at the things that you want to do, I would put on that level, certainly. Everyone wants to have something good come of their life, to succeed at something that they want to pledge themselves to. I think a lot of people in their lives, they forget about what they truly want and start thinking about, well, what is actually possible, what is actually pragmatic. Bullshit! You should stop thinking like that. That's exactly the wrong way to think. Don't think about whether it's possible, try to make it possible. That's how invention... Look, people a long time ago thought it was impossible to fly. They thought it was impossible to go more than 60 miles an hour. It's impossible to orbit the Earth. It's impossible to cure some disease. I can never overcome this opposing army. Yes, you can. You just have to think. You have to use strategy. Keeping in mind, though, there will always at the same time be failure. Because the other person that you're opposing might be thinking along the same lines. You would think of Tesla versus Edison. Tesla was clearly wiser. Tesla was clearly right about more things than Edison was. His inventions were more efficient. They are now more wide-reaching. But you've probably never heard of Tesla in any mainstream school textbook, because Edison destroyed his career. He destroyed his character. He literally used character assassination on him. He fried at one point, using alternating current, he fried an elephant, hoisted up on a crane to prove that Tesla's electrical designs were dangerous. They could cause people to die. Now, of course, Edison's were the ones that were more dangerous than Tesla's, but they were more showy when they fried that elephant. And so he helped to, keep things less efficient for many decades after Tesla was already dead and gone. And that's sort of the way of the world. But you have to have ambition, you have to work towards what you want, and you have to trust. There should be a kernel of faith in each person. There should be a kernel of, it doesn't have to be religious, it doesn't have to be faith in a deity, but a faith in some sort of higher power, or cosmic influence, or fate, or just the laws of science, or the laws of pure dumb chance being on your side at least some of the time. It doesn't matter exactly what words you use to describe the concept. The concept remains more or less intact. It's more or less the same, whether it's spiritual or whether it's anti-spiritual. You've got to have some sort of backup because you will not always succeed. And that's a good thing to cherish because it really helps with ambition. I would say this also pairs with the booklet I'm writing on the topic as well. And I'm mostly done with it. I've got 3 more sections, so within another week, hopefully I'll be able to release it. It's got some anecdotes in it, among other things. Proper names redacted, of course. But it's an important thing to keep in mind. You have to have some sort of trust. Sometimes we trust other people. I would say other people probably let you down more than dumb chance does. If you assume no Jesus, no spirits, no cosmic divine will or fate or anything like that, okay, people still probably have let you down more often than chance alone, relying upon yourself and some poorly defined external source. That's what I would say about it. I prefer to put my own spiritual prowess towards those things rather than to rely on other people, because largely I've found that other people are unreliable. Generally speaking, and that goes hand in hand with, if you want something done right, do it yourself. You have to do the work for your ambitions. At the very least, you have to sow the seeds of what you want. You have to think longer term than in the here and now. Otherwise, you will fail probably more often than you succeed. That's about all. Peace out.